My name is Mitzy Perez, but I just go by Mitzy Perez because it is a mouthful. I really like the history behind it. When I first came here, I didn't know too much, but I did find out. I don't know if most people think this, but I used to think it was the bathrooms, but it's actually the baths. And I think it's such a great story how they used to come through here, and it was kind of a resting space. And I just really like the history, when the dam happened and John F. Kennedy was here. I also still like that it's a little smaller. Coming from LA was a little crazy, a little hectic. So I decided to stay in the Central Valley for that reason. Every time I go visit my family, they're in LA, and it's crazy. You can't find parking. The traffic is terrible. And I mean, the housing costs are crazy as well. So I really like the area. I like the slower paced lifestyle, and I love being in nature. I love going to Yosemite, so it's not too far. um, I like the area. I think it's a great location. That could improve. I believe there's just maybe two, three things that I it comes to my mind right away. One, I think more people would want, myself included, because I do go to Turlock for work. Maybe have more businesses to provide better paying jobs here. Um, Taking care of the homelessness issue. I think that'd be great for the entire community. And another thing would have to be having more schools. Los Banos' population is going to keep growing, and we don't want to have the schools overcrowded because I do value education a lot. Coming from Mexico, I came here and the education was so different. And I think it's really important to have good schools that have good resources for their students. First thing I believe would be annexing more land, because if we want to build more homes, we need more land available to build. Um, and I mean, it kind of goes hand by hand with bringing better paying jobs. If we want more businesses to come, we do need more land, not only for housing, but where are we going to put these businesses? I think both north and south. One of my Another thing that I do believe in is also building more parks. I think having one in the south and north side would be great. For the communities. I'm all about staying active, and it's important to have those, parks and recreational spaces so people can be more active, have more leagues, baseball leagues, soccer leagues, just a little more options, pretty much. The homelessness issue is a little difficult because it's not about finding homes for people. I'm sure everyone can agree it's a mental health crisis as well. A lot of these people have drug addictions. So I think if we want to combat homelessness, we have to go into those core issues. So it's so easy to say, hey, let's build homes for them, let's build communities for them, but a lot of these people don't want to move into these homes. Their option is to stay out in the streets. So I think we have to address the mental health crisis and drug addiction and have better resources. I'm still doing a little homework on that. I'm not going to lie. Um, I just know it has to be addressed, and that's one of the things. I have to get with people to brainstorm and come up with these solutions. The only thing that comes to my mind would be to make these roads a little better, make them more accessible. I know, like me, I commute to Turlock, and there's only pretty much one road, and it's sometimes a little difficult when there's a lot of cars. Sometimes I'm running late because it's just that one road that I have available. So I think it'd be best to maybe add more roads. Yeah, I did touch base on that. I even spoke to a couple people. They want Costco's, they want these warehouses, but again, it comes down to where are we going to place them, and do we have the population to where these businesses will want to come to Los Banos? So again, it all ties together. We're annexing the land so we can build more homes, grow the population, and these businesses will want to come eventually once we have the population. I mean, Costco, I think they have a certain population that they require to even build in that specific location. That's an issue, I'm guessing, which is why we don't have that much land that's been annexed recently. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know specifically how that works. I believe we'll have to get with the state as well, because I mean the we have state workers that will be able to do that. And I won't lie, I'm not completely knowledgeable on how the land annexation goes. Um, but it comes down to that if we want to expand. And I'm not saying go crazy, because I know the community likes staying, on the smaller side. But if we want managed growth, we do have to figure out some ways around that, because, like you said, we do have to bring the sewage water to build those homes outside the city limits. I know, the base stuff that happened. I don't know too much. Like, I didn't look too deeply into it. But I even speaking to a couple of the council members, they filled me in a little bit. And I think everyone's just excited to kind of have new faces and kind of start fresh. Not necessarily. I just became a citizen last year as well, which is what then, I won't lie, I never saw myself going into politics or anything like that. And, I decided to make my home out here in the Central Valley, and I want to be more involved. So I didn't go into it thinking I want to be like this person. I just want to be my own person. And if I can help the community in any way, that's all I would want to do. For one is commitment to doing the right thing. I always think if anyone wants to get involved and serve the community, they have to be selfless. It's always about what's going to be better for the community. You have to let go of anything. You can't take anything personal. I believe they have to have a strong background in finance and managing. I think business management would be great as well. Um, and just someone very responsible. I think it'd be absolutely preferred, but I don't think it's too difficult to catch up on that. I think if he brings those other, if he has that other knowledge, it's basically just tying it into government. And I don't think that should be too difficult. Um, I think, let's say we can place any person with a strong background into any community. All they would have to do is catch up with what's going on, what this community needs, and the current government policies. I think that's something it's preferred, but I don't think they necessarily should have, that government background. I like one of my biggest goals is to have more schools. So I definitely think the school district is very important to have that relationship. Um, but I think it should all be equal. We have to maintain good relationships with everyone. Of course, I think some there's some priorities, but at the end of the day, we're working for the whole community. So I'm not saying we should maintain better relationships with others over others. Me personally, I mean, I'm very new to this, but me personally, I would want to first reach out, stay in really good communication, have meetings here and there to discuss issues, brainstorm. I think if we want their help, they have to know specifically what's going on. Of course, they can't know what's going on everywhere. So if we want to maintain that relationship, I think it's important to stay in really good communication. Um, hold again meetings, or just even, hey, grab a meal, just grab a quick coffee, just discuss things. I think it's as simple as that, just so they could know and be aware of issues that we have ongoing. I think ideally, because a park is for the community, but again, who mostly goes to parks? Children. Um, I think it's important to have these options like baseball fields, soccer fields, spaces where we can host events as well. I love being out here because I see the kind of events people hold, even not even just here in Los Banos, but in all the Central Valley. I've seen Modesta do it, Merced, Turlock. Have the farmers markets, have those local small businesses, spaces where they can gather and you know um, just be with the community and get their name out there. Um, Mostly though, these recreational spaces for kids, so they can figure out what they want to do. I mean, I played soccer growing up my whole life, and I probably wouldn't have gotten into it if my local park didn't have the soccer fields and had the soccer leagues. I think that was a huge part of what made me, get into soccer in the first place. I think it's important because, again, everything that happened previously, I'm going into this completely with one thing in mind, and it is to serve only the community. So even though I do have those things that I have, you know, um, prioritized already, for me it's important to go out there and talk to people on a regular basis, see what they have to suggest, what they think would be better for the whole town. It's not always about what's best for me, because what might be good for me might be something different, for everyone else. So I think it's important for people to know that they can always reach out to me. I will be there to listen, and of course, if we can get things done that would benefit the whole community, I will strive to get it done. So I'm going into this completely selfless, and um, it's a for me, it's like a volunteer thing. I want to make sure that people have a voice and they feel heard. And again, I want to make myself available to everyone, even if they want to grab a coffee, anything, just so I can know what's going on. I know everyone has different issues, and I want them to know I'm approachable. I'm just a regular person. I live here too. And I think it's more like your neighborhood friend. Nothing, just feel normal with me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to help 100%.